Welcome to Investors Guide on ET Now. We're glad to have you join us on the show this week. We have a packed show today. We're answering some questions and planning some portfolios, and of course, we're going to review funds that you can invest in and you can get rich. Remember, you can write to us. There's an email ID at the bottom of your screen right now. Send in as many details as possible. Let's get straight to it. This is what we're going to do in the next half hour. We're going to help out a 29-year-old who just got married. We're going to put him on track for achieving his long-term goals, so he's planning a family, and we will sort out the rest of his financial life. Also, we are reviewing the IDFC Premier Equity Plan A. We'll tell you if you should be investing in that fund. And in our final segment, we're going to be answering your questions on investments and insurance. All of that coming up later on the show, but first let me introduce our guest, Dhirendra Kumar, the CEO of Value Research and our in-house mutual fund expert who speaks exclusively to this show. Dhirendra, thanks so much for joining us on the show. Let's get straight to our portfolio versus portfolio segment. But Sandeep Goyal is the lucky viewer who will have his question answered this week. He writes in from Kolkata. He's 29 years old and he's newly married. Well, congratulations, Sandeep. He tells us he spent all of his money on his wedding and he's now starting from scratch with his financial planning. He has an income of 58,000 rupees and he has expenses of roughly about 30,000 rupees. Now, these are his investments. He has 1 lakh rupees in a fixed deposit which he saved for his sister's wedding. He has about 27,000 rupees in a mutual fund and a lakh and a half saved in cash which he wants for his holiday. He also has about 20,000 rupees in equity. Now, he tells us he's paying a home loan of 10,000 rupees a month and he wants to split his investments right now into fixed deposits, mutual funds and gold and silver, 25,000 rupees each. He wants to start off by understanding if this is the right choice. Well, from his letter, it seems like his term policy is taken care of, his health insurance is taken care of from his employer. But so much money going into gold and so much money going into fixed deposit, does that make sense for someone who's 29 and just starting off?
No, I don't think that's a that's a sound way of approaching his savings. He should try and articulate his goals, and goals are and things are very well very nicely in place for him to plan, because he has planned for most of his immediate needs anyway. I would assume that he should have the emergency fund, have the money in his bank account for his holiday, and if all the money beyond that, the lump sum investment, should get into a balanced fund. Looks like by the tone of his letter that he is fairly conservative. He is scared of the market. He is scared of the turbulence of equity. His tilt towards FD, even for a third of it, that is taken care of by his emergency fund. And beyond that, I think he should have self-belief in the work which he is doing, and rest of the things have been taken care of. So he should just work towards having a conservative portfolio and continue building on that.
So among the portfolios that we've designed, would you say our stable growth portfolio with 4 balanced funds, that makes most sense for someone like him right now?
Yes, and it will be a little complicated if he's trying to build that stable growth portfolio with 4 balanced funds. He can do with 2 of them, and have the HDFC Prudence or a DSP BlackRock balance, and that should be enough. One more important thing he should keep in mind is invest regularly. Not let his money accumulate in his savings bank account and then one day decide that okay, now he has 2 lakh rupees to invest. Invest regularly. He'll be able to average it and he'll be able to develop a belief. He has long working career ahead of him, and that systematic approach will be very helpful.
Right, so basically the advice right now to you is don't worry about putting money in a fixed deposit, don't worry about putting money in gold and silver. Start with a balanced fund. It will be a good way for you to start your investments. He has another softer question today. He says his wife wants to buy a car, but he's worried that with expenses on the rise, with a child on the way, is it a good idea to buy a car? Should he just buy a second-hand car, maybe hold on for some more time before they go in and make that first large expense? Do you think it's time for him to buy a car?
I can only give my opinion, which is my personal opinion. I don't think it requires advice. It is a personal choice, but more importantly, it's good to have the car. I don't think it is just it's a luxury. I think it could be a useful thing, it could be a needed thing, and it is better to have the car and start having start consuming it or availing it when you'll have fun than postpone it beyond the point.
It's also important for him to remember here that since he has a running home loan and he's been paying EMIs, if you've been paying EMIs on time, it means you have good credit history, which means that the bank that you go to for a car loan should be able to give you a very good deal on that car loan because of the credit history that you've built with your home loan. So good luck with those investments. Dhirendra Kumar there telling you that go ahead, buy that car. It's not a luxury anymore, it's more of a requirement, so it probably makes sense. Remember, you can write back to us if you have any more questions about the advice you heard on this show. Let's move on now to our hold or sell segment. Well, Sandeep Singh has written in. He's 34 years old and he says he's invested in a few funds. They have now grown to 5 lakh rupees. He wants to continue these investments for the next 15 years for his daughter, who's 3 years old, and he also wants to invest for his own retirement. Now, his goal range is to achieve a target of 3 crore rupees in the next 15 years. He wants to know if the current investments that he has will help him do that, or should he be modifying his portfolio in any way. He sent us a list of those funds. The first fund on his list is the Reliance Banking Fund. Should he be holding on to this one?
Generally, I advise if Reliance Banking is a good fund, but for the kind of investor, or if he's going to be passive with his investment, it doesn't make sense. If he will be actively monitoring his portfolio and he thinks that it is a useful addition, it has been a fairly rewarding fund. But for the kind of depends on his overall portfolio. He can do without it. Ideally, passive investors should not have a sector fund or a thematic fund in his portfolio.
And in fact, when we look at his portfolio, he has a lot of equity diversified funds, most of whom will have a large allocation towards banking to begin with. Like the next fund, HDFC Equity, is the next one on his list. Obviously, hang on to this one, Dhiren?
Surely, he should hang on to it, and it's a kind of fund which is there in most of our portfolios as well.
DSP BlackRock Equity is the next one on this on his list. Should he continue investing in this one?
Yes, another good fund and a diverse kind. So he should hang on to this as well.
He has about 1,500 rupees going into Sundaram Capex every month. Should he continue that investment as well?
No, this is exactly the kind of fund which should be avoided. In fact, when it comes to a sector fund, he still has, it could still be a matter of choice that you want to tilt your portfolio to banking or something specific. But here is something which is very loosely defined. It is comparable to an infrastructure fund. He should certainly get rid of it. It has also been a relatively poorly performing fund.
The DSP BlackRock Small and Mid Cap Fund is the next one on the list. He's investing 1,000 rupees every month. Should he hang on to that one?
It has been a reasonable fund, and he should hang on to it only in a certain ratio. And it's 1,000 rupee of his total of over 10,000 rupee investment every month, so he should hold on to this.
If he's holding on to DSP BlackRock Small and Mid Cap, does he need to have the next one? DSP BlackRock Micro Cap is the next one on his list. Should he actually have both of those funds on his portfolio?
He can have, but this is and more so if he is going to be investing for 15 years. These are not the kind of fund which you invest and sleep over it for 15 years. I would say that HDFC Equity, DSP BlackRock Equity kind of fund, you keep a check, and don't even consider discontinuing, even if they have a brief period of a patch of poor performance. These are the funds which you can't bank on for many years. So this will require keeping an eye on these.
The Franklin Pharma Fund is the next one on his list, a sector fund, but the pharmaceutical sector, which has been doing fairly well. Would you recommend he hangs on to that one?
Yes, he should hang on to it and exit opportunistically. This is not a fund which he should be doing a SIP for 15 years or even 5 years. This will have huge swings of outperformance and underperformance. This fund has just been through a great performance in recent times, and keep an eye on it.
Right, ICICI Prudential Power Fund, another sector fund. What's your take on the power sector right now? Is this something that he should stay invested in?
No, this fund has undergone a change. The name is just, the name is misleading. It is, and now recently it has undergone a change. Now it is called ICICI Prudential Top 100 or Top 200 Fund, and it has become a fairly generic fund, and it was a reasonable fund even before that. This is a fund which he should continue and should continue investing and hold as well.
The IDFC Premier Equity Plan is the last one on his list, 1,500 rupees going into this one. Would you say that he could possibly increase the allocation to this fund?
Yeah, I think his portfolio requires some trimming, and why I'm suggesting that he hold his sector funds is just because if he's knowledgeable about it, and there is still a tailwind of performance coming from these two funds, the banking and the pharma fund. But if I have to just keep it simple, I would just have the 4 funds which I referred, the IDFC, the HDFC Equity, DSP BlackRock Equity, and the ICICI Prudential top 100 fund which it has become.
So remember, you can hang on to your sectoral funds provided you're willing to put in that effort of checking them regularly, checking the sector regularly. But these are the 4 funds flashing on your screen that you can invest in for the next 15 years without having to worry about them too much. Remember, it still makes sense to review your portfolio every year or every 2 years. IDFC Premier Equity Plan A, that's the fund that we're going to review on the other side of this break. Dhirendra Kumar is going to stay with us. You should too. Don't go anywhere.